Black Panther, Black Panther. See me in this thing, I'm the Black Panther. Black excellence, yeah, put them hands up. All black, everything, I'm the Black Panther. Black Panther, Black Panther. See me in this thing, I'm the Black Panther. See us posted up like the Black Panthers. All black, everything, I'm the Black Panther. Black Panther, all of this black magic. When I do it, yeah, you know I'm doing it to the maximum. Yeah, it's nothing to handle them. The evil ones know I ain't having it. Black fist, like I'm rolling with the X-Clan and them. Too cool, never stressing when I dismantle them. Big tribes, see me posted up with my family.
Yes, it is the Cast Worthy podcast back at you. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine. Joined today with EJ the Savage and the VP of Research. It is Sunday, August 30th, about a week or so, a little bit more from the start of football. And we are here to discuss lots of stuff. Gentlemen, how you guys doing today?
What's good?
Feeling good. Feeling good.
Feeling
Happy to
good?
be here.
Excellent. How you guys doing? How you guys feeling, man? I took a moment this week and all I could think about is as we sit here and we watch the internet, all we hear about is protect our black women and etc. And of course we agree with that. But when's the last time somebody asked you how you're doing as a black man in America, where black men are being gunned down almost monthly by the people that are supposed to be protecting them, the people that we're supposed to entrust with our family safety and our children's safety? When's the last time somebody asked you guys how you are doing mentally?
I'll say more recently, another black man, my networking circle of people try to do our due diligence to check each other out and make sure we're good because, we do break the stereotypes and break the molds. So we try to look out for one another. But, to your point, about the protecting part, I was watching Jamel Hill and Carrie Champion's show, and they were on their second episode, and they were discussing Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, and they reiterated the same sentiments of saying men got to protect their women, black men got to protect their women, black women, and then they followed it to say, let's stop being so divisive together, and I just really wish that we as a people can start to really do that and show care and concern for one another and know that, there are scumbags, both male and female, in this community. But as a whole, we have to stop generalizing and we have to start really caring about one another. And so when people ask how you're doing, when you really want to know how someone's doing, be sincere about it and really care, and see them as your brother or your sister. So I appreciate you asking me that. And I hope you're doing well as well.
VP, anybody ask you how you doing? Can you hear us?
I don't know that he can. I don't know that he can hear us.
I hear. Are you talking to me? Yeah, I can hear you.
He asked how you doing. He asked anybody ask you how you doing, brother.
Oh, my! I thought your response was sufficient, so I didn't respond. My bad.
Sheesh.
But nah, nobody's asked how I'm doing for the most part, man. I try to hang in there. Today with everything going on, it's already tough in the country just being a black person or whatever. But today was particularly tough for me just because that's why I was saying earlier in the pre-recording I was thinking about not showing up today is today's my mother's birthday and I've been thinking a lot about her today and because I'm now the same age that she was when she died, so it's been kind of weighing on me a little bit. So yeah, man, but you know I'm here.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, man. Rest in peace to your mom. I know.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to your mom, Dukes. I'm sure she would be proud of the man that you become in most areas except for the research part. um, but yeah, man. It just it dawned on me, man. I was driving home and I'm like, damn, yo, we driving. We got some fucked up shit going on in this country, man. And we're expected to be the rock of our families, um, of the culture, the protectors, right? And at what point does anybody ever say, "Hey, how you doing? Like, how are you mentally doing?" And so that's what I was asking. And then obviously, in addition to that, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace to him. He passed away, young man, 43 years old, just a couple years over our age, and just the importance, man, of people going to the fucking doctor, dog. Like, not saying that he didn't, but shit like that could be caught, man, and we just don't know what we could potentially be walking around with at what age. They tell us that we shouldn't get colonoscopies until we're 50 years old, right? And we're seeing otherwise. This man was 43 years old and he was battling it for 4 years. So at 39, maybe earlier, right? 39 is where they caught it. Who knows how long it was festering? Hell of a man. You know. He entertained us. He played some very strong roles for the black culture. Jackie Robinson, um,
James
obviously
Brown,
James Brown, um,
Thurgood Marshall.
Thurgood Marshall, and then obviously his biggest one, T'Challa, which it felt like Black Panther the movie was kind of bringing people together, unifying blacks, whites, no matter what you were, right? Very similar to how we spoke about football and sports. And we're not even getting closer, man. We're not even getting closer. Another man gunned down, shot 7 times in the back, um, paralyzed now because he had a knife in the car, and that's what they're using to justify it.
So on the on the Chadwick Boseman thing, definitely rest in peace and thoughts with his friends and family. Um, when you were talking about getting checked out and things like that, Steve, it made me think about it was a couple years ago. I was listening to Steve Harvey's morning show when it was still on the radio here in Orlando, and it was during Black History Month, and he had this doctor on. She's like a general practitioner or whatever, and she was saying that she actually recommends to her black male patients that they actually start getting colonoscopies in their 40s. And she says the reason that she did that is that because of years of slavery and oppression and segregation and black people not being able to participate in society the way that whites have, our medical history isn't as deep as it is for white men. And so we don't know if black men should wait until 50 to get a colonoscopy.
You got to refresh over there, champ. You were in and out choppy.
Yeah, it broke up a little bit, and I think that was extremely important. Very important
information.
information that you were putting out there. And that's one of the reasons. And for just for anyone who was unable to hear it, he's basically saying there was a doctor that stated that African American men and women, should be checked more frequently.
And
And the
earlier.
doctor, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And no, I'm adding on to you, saying more frequently and earlier than what traditional studies show, because a lot of what modern medicine is dictating for the average human being is based off of whites who've had adequate medical treatment throughout this country's history when we were not afforded that. So everything that they're tracking, and it's a hell of a point and a great point by Buffalo V. It's a great point when you think about it, man. For hundreds of years, we were not afforded adequate medical attention. So everything that they're basing this information off of has nothing to do with our makeup. And we know that while yes, we all of the human race, uh, we as different ethnicities have different predispositions. We have different conditions. With slavery, you have now created different mental health uh, dispositions. You have different physical dispositions. So, just from the food that we were allowed to eat up until now. And then, so that is a hell of a point, Buffalo V. Hell of a point.
Yeah,
I'm not calling you
extremely
VP
important.
of research, by the way, ever again.
I mean, that was one. That was a good one. I think you last 4 weeks, 1 for 4. You batting 25%, man, 250. Uh, but yeah, that's why. So my doctor is a black man. From I want to say he's from Brooklyn. It's either Brooklyn or Harlem.
If he's from Brooklyn, don't trust him.
He's on all type. Yeah, he's on all types of boards with UCF and shit like that. And that's one of the reasons why I stick with this man, because he's a black man, and he's gonna have the best interest at hand. I'm sure the research that he's done, in addition to just his general studies, it has been to better understand the black anatomy for African Americans, because that's a hell of a point, man. That they just haven't, they never cared about us, they never cared to check, we've always been the inferior human to them. So why check us? Why have doctors check on us? Why? I mean, the only thing they know that is constant with us is diabetes. That's probably the biggest thing that they know about us, and that we don't age, we age gracefully.
Yeah, I wanted to also get in there on Chadwick Boseman, man. You know, I don't. Me and VP and we've talked about celebrities and stuff like that, and we kind of, we know what it is. We all have experienced close deaths and loss, and but Chadwick Boseman, for the generation of kids behind him, is icon, in a way that was very important. And Black Panther, as you know, as the resident comic person, I remember years ago when I was on Facebook, I think it was 2012, I saw a memory actually saying, like, when are we going to get a damn Black Panther film? We need to pay Wesley Snipes back for his work with Blade. Marvel owes us. I've been saying it for years. And then we get this film. And then I remember when we were talking about the film 2 years before it came out, and I was pissed off, like, yo, why is it taking so long? And it finally came. And this dude, Chadwick Boseman, man, knocked it out the park. And then the Marshall film, I loved it. The James Brown film was my favorite of his, and just the work that he put in and the dedication that he put in to ensure that he made these people come to life on screen, and the dedication this guy had to battle cancer and still work, still appear, still go to see children in the hospital. Guy's a Howard grad, same place Kamala Harris graduated from. Just seemed like a genuinely good dude, and I just, I really appreciated his work. He will be missed, and it seems like the good go young, But I just, while it hit me, but to know that he knew what was going on and he was fighting and everything, kind of just made it a little better because he seems like a guy that just wanted to do this and not have anybody affected by it. But man, with everything going on, to lose this guy at this point in time, like you alluded to, Steve, it just seems like, God damn it, when can we catch a break?
Yeah, that's true, man. Even though he did go young, to the point that Steve made earlier and then you just made, given the fact that he played James Brown, he played Thurgood Marshall, he played Jackie Robinson, and then he played T'Challa, Black Panther. Like he's gonna live forever. You know what I mean? You people are gonna be black people showing their kids that Black Panther film long into the future. And even if they're gonna have to get a new person to play Black Panther, obviously, but people all it's always going to be him. You know what I mean? So it's one of those roles. It don't.
Seems like we lost. Seems like we lost Steve there. Huh. No, you're right. And I think that's the thing about celebrity and fame, because while everybody has an everyday life, we all bleed on the inside. There are people that stick out throughout time, and I think people are just born to be certain things. Like Chadwick didn't really look like anybody he played, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a phenomenal actor. And if you were to put Black Panther on the page, he epitomized the character in many ways, not in a lot of ways, but a lot of that was due to the writing, how they rewrote the comics, laying that out. But yeah, man, special guy, man. Truly a special guy. And definitely rest in peace to him, man.
For sure.
Definitely rest in peace to him, man.
And
For
what's
sure.
crazy is that I don't know if you ever heard the Denzel Washington story about him and Chadwick, but
Yes.
so it's possible that we might not have even known him, but for the grace of Denzel Washington, which is it's crazy, man, that we could have missed out on a talent like that.
Yep. And the other thing that I was looking at with Angela Bassett, and how she was saying how she came to Howard to speak at some point when he was a student there, and he was the guy that escorted her around, which is like
Mm,
nuts. So it's like,
yeah.
life is a trip, man. And as black men, and mortality, Steve was talking about where we're supposed to be the rock. I don't know that that's essentially true for everybody, especially if you've grown up in the house with just your mom, like we have. um but there are guys like us that provide for the family, that want to be there, emotionally, physically, and mentally. And seeing shit like that is scary. This guy's fucking Black Panther. Like,
Yeah.
and his life is golden and it's great. And then we see, the continual shootings and killings. And then not to mention we got to worry about one another. I live in one of the most violent cities in America, and every time I look at one of these young cats, it's kind of like, damn, just seeing another brother somewhere. It's kind of like you wanna be, very akin to the people, but you don't know what kind of time this person is on next to you.
Yeah.
It's a very scary time that we're living in this country. If you're black in America, it's a lot of layers. It's a lot of nuances, man. It's kind of scary.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And I think that like when we have these conversations, it almost seems like whenever a black person is shot by the police unarmed or whatever, there's almost immediately a video that follows of a white person armed being arrested without incident, right? And I think that a lot of people think that we as black people feel like, how come they didn't kill this guy? And we're not advocating for the police to kill people, but we're saying, why is it that white people who are armed, who are going fucking bananas on the cops, can be arrested without a shot being fired, sometimes without even a taser being used, but a black person who was unarmed, you know, can have their life ended for just a subtle movement, and the shit is just insane, man. That we have to in 2020, we have to worry about, our work because the economy is so shitty. You have to worry about COVID, and then you have to worry about whether or not you can die just from being pulled over. It's fucking insane, man.
Yeah, and people like, cops will tell you, good cops will tell you, because honestly, let's be honest, man. If you're a cop, your mindset, you're trained. It's almost like, and VP, you can speak to this. You're the Marine. It's like when you've been trained to do something and think a certain way. You could be a cop and be trained to see blue. And by that, I say see different nuances, see different situations, and understand how things can go. I've been security trained. I've been in law enforcement positions in certain instances, and I think about those things too. But it's like you said. How is it that I get it that every one time, maybe one out of this time, one out of that time, this will happen. And then we'll see it in the white lens where the white person does it and nothing happens. But how is it though that every single time that the bad technique, the bad operation, the bad shooting, the bad tactics, why does it always happen to us? You know, uh we see this brother on camera, walking away from the police. No point is he tackled. They say they used taser guns and it didn't work. No point was he confronted before he got to the car door. No time did you just beat his ass. Like, you know, I just I don't know, man. And it's how do you tell a whole culture of people that this is just a fluke? This is just bad training. This is just bad tactics. And this is my issue what I had with AP when he was on. Because I know his think is that he's trained blue, he's trained soldier. He looks at it as this is bad apples. No, it's not. The whole response and the whole reason why escalation and de-escalation does not happen oftentimes with us is because when they come, they see one male. They see what they want to see. They see what they think they see. And then it goes from there. And not to mention, let's be honest, we have still not, as a country, told the truth. We have not really admitted that there's a lot of these people in uniform, in behind benches, behind interview boards that were the kids of the kids of the kids that watched the lynchings and clapped and cheered. Let's be real. This racism didn't just begin the other day. It was passed down from generation to generation to generation. And until we really know, how do we ever really know that these people ain't out here to kill us? How do we know?
We don't. We don't. And they are out here to kill us. Um, I saw a very fitting um, meme, I suppose, on the internet, but it's reality. And it said, your white friend never really liked black people, they just liked you. And I could tell you, it sucks, but I feel extremely strong about that at a high percentage. I'm not going to say it's 100% of white people because we don't expect them to say 100% of black people, even though a lot of them do. But we don't expect them to say 100% of us are criminals and we would resist arrest and all of that stuff. But it makes you wonder, like when you see how many of these people are supportive of Trump or try to justify the actions of Trump or the officers that are shooting individuals, the ones that are saying, well, Breonna Taylor should have never been in contact with a known felon, or they say, well, if they just stop resisting, no one will get hurt. Well, what if that was me? And what if I wasn't resisting? What if I was just fed the fuck up and I'm like, listen, I'm going to fuck home. Leave me alone. I'm walking to my car and I got shot 7 times in the fucking back in front of my kids. Now, we don't know the full story, right? We don't know the full scope of the story. Like we tend to hear stuff later, but little details tend to come out. And the what has come out is that he told him he had a knife in the car, not in a threatening way, but just so that they were aware. And because he had a knife in the car, people are justifying him being shot 7 times in the back as he was trying to get into his vehicle.
So the thing for me on that, regardless of the knife in the car, is from my understanding of what went down with the Jacob Blake situation is that he was breaking up a fight and the cops were called for some reason, right? So I don't understand
Mm. His internet is hating.
engaging him on at that level.
His internet is hating on him right now.
His internet's hating on him. The rain.
Yeah, he's. What were you were saying? I don't know if he's trying to refresh there or not. Because of COVID here, we're trying to do this digital stuff. Nah, I'm joking.
The internet does that sometimes. Go ahead. We can hear you.
So I was saying that it was my understanding that the police were called because there was a fight happening, but Jacob Blake was actually breaking up the fight. So if he's breaking up a fight, like why are the cops engaging him in that way?
Yeah.
And that goes back to my point of, we have black and brown police officers, and at some point they have to realize that blue ain't gonna matter with you either. We've seen off-duty cops get killed. Shit, you can go back to Serpico in the 1970s. That was based on a true story. You see the guy we talked about it with AP, with the guy who had the FBI creds that was getting harassed, and AP was just like, well, why are you being a dick? Why didn't you just pull out your creds? Why did he have to? That's the better question. Why are you fucking with me? My friends are with me. Clearly, his white friend who was acting a little bit more hostile and jumping in and out of the frame of the camera, he didn't get spoken to at all. And we at some point we have to realize that it just is what it is. In Louisville, Kentucky, I've been there several times. I go there almost every year. This is probably the first time I haven't gone around this time this year. And while I could say it's a very progressive city in a lot of different ways, I didn't experience any racism there, but I could see the nuances. I went to different historical things and I read about it and how they were on the fence of they didn't want to be in the Confederate, they didn't want to be in the Union, but they had slaves. etc., etc. What happened with Breonna Taylor is something that, like I continue to say, I don't know if we're ever going to get justice because it's deep, from the judge involved, the warrants, the police department. Everybody's lying, and this is a big cover up. And we're depending on other entities, national entities, to do their job with a president who doesn't give a shit, who loves the propaganda, who is pushing this racist agenda. It's like, and then I talk with a guy who's a friend of mine who's a correctional officer in New York, and he has this one friend that says blatantly ignorant racist shit and tries to mask it with these open-ended bullshit questions. And I responded to him. I said, tactically, that whole situation didn't even make sense. How do you follow a suspect, right? Let's just say a suspect. How do you blindly follow a suspect within 2 feet of you with your gun that way, aimed with pedestrian onlookers that way, and then he's getting into the car? If Jacob Blake actually wanted to do something to this guy, it was too late. So tactically, it didn't even make any sense on what these people did. So how do you justify any of this shit? And anybody that finds any justification for it, you're simply a racist. And we gotta stop as a people thinking that they just got a different perspective. They're just debating. No, you're racist. And what we need today, you stand on that side, I'm gonna stand on this side, and we're gonna handle you accordingly. That's really what's missing.
So the problem that I have is they try to give us just enough, right? They try to play us like we're just fucking stupid, right? So to your point, in this whole Breonna Taylor situation, first of all, the cops are still walking free. This so-called warrant that was written, that person, whoever so-called wrote, supposedly wrote it, allegedly, is still walking free. But they're like, let's appease the Negroes and let's give them the Breonna Taylor Act. Maybe that'll make this go away. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. But it's called the Justice for Breonna Taylor Act. And it's basically it was passed to prevent the no-knock warrant is the gist of it. Right? What the fuck does that have to do with justice for her or what took place? That doesn't change the past, right? Maybe that'll change the future a little bit, but that doesn't change the past. In addition to that, the chokehold shit. Chokehold shit was supposed to have been banned back in New York, what, years ago, right? And so now we're hearing about it again, right? We're hearing about it now because people are protesting, because people are bringing us to the forefront, because people are losing money is really what it comes down to, right? You got the NBA walkout, or they kind of pause for a few days, and that's where they're going through the motions to appease us because they're losing money. They don't give a shit about us. They still don't care about us. What they're worried about is these are my fucking these are my entertainers. This is how I make a living for my family. This is how I keep wealth for generation to generation. And if I don't say or do something, whether I mean it or not, this can stop. And we can be put into a position where my family is no longer bringing in the wealth at the same pace.
Yeah, the whole Breonna Taylor thing, man. Everything that's happening in that situation, it just seems to be one big cover up from the police department all the way up to the prosecutor's office or whatever. Like I don't understand how anyone hasn't been charged, disciplined, whatever in that situation. Everything just seems wrong from the jump. And then The thing about the Breonna Taylor situation that pissed me off the most was that they say, well, you know, the boyfriend or whatever opened fire on the police officers or whatever, and they charged this dude, and it's like, you guys broke into my crib. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you keep hearing people on all of this open carry, Second Amendment bullshit or whatever. And it's like, I'm defending my home, which is what open carry, not open carry, but which is what like stand your ground and shit is about. It's called the castle doctrine, right? You have the right to defend your castle, right? And here you have this man saying, I'm defending my castle. You guys busted my crib. I'm hearing gunshots, so I'm firing back or whatever. And then he gets arrested or what? Like what the fuck, yo?
And you know what, VP, that takes me back to the dialogue that we've had previously, the Zimmerman and Trayvon shit, you know, where he got off with the stand your ground. And historically, you know, in our debates, I've said I would appreciate for me to have those same rights, right? In that type of situation. I don't think I would now. I don't think I would, because people are standing on the fact that, oh well, he shot at police. Well, he didn't know the fuck the police were. Listen, if you kick my door in the middle of the night and I know I have no reason for the police to be at my house, guess what? If I hear that bang and you wake me out of my sleep, it's going down. The kid and the wife are going in the bathroom, and if you come through that bedroom door, it's coming hot. Like real hot. So how can you blame this guy and be like, oh well, he shot at police? Would you shoot at police? Oh, he didn't know who he was shooting at. He's supposed to know who he's shooting at before he pulls the trigger. Okay.
That's kind of why I didn't want to ask for towels in your house when I slept
Well,
over.
that's how you die, right? You wait to see who this person is that's in your house, and that's how you get shot. That's how you lose that battle, right? You're waiting till you can see their face, so you can see the whites of their eyes, right? That's what they called it a long time ago. And you wait for that, you are going to lose that fucking battle. I promise you that. The one thing that you do have when you're in your own home, you have the upper hand because you know the layout. You know where you're at. You know where they have to go to get to you. That's the one upper hand you have. There should be no fucking reason why you expect me to ask, hey, who is it? Who's there? Before I blast your fucking head off.
Pretty much, but again, why are we even talking about the letter of the law when it doesn't apply to us?
And
Brother
not only
Gene,
that, not to cut you off. Sorry about that. I'm going to cut you off though, just to
no
finish
doubt.
because I know I'm going to forget. When it's a little old white lady who shoots off a perpetrator's fucking head, or not a perpetrator, an invader's head, because they walked in her house, everybody's like, oh, look at little Martha, she protected herself, right?
What was that?
That's all the time. That's in the news all the time, and I can find one of the articles. I'll look it up.
I know.
But
I mean, you're in Florida. I guarantee you will.
yeah, it happens. It happens so frequently, right? Where they're like, "Oh, well, she shot an invader. You know, ain't God good? You know, that's why we stand by our Second Amendment or amendment, right? But let it be Jaquan, perfectly legal.
Where do you come up with these black names, dog?
It has to be clear here. There can't be any question of who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say Mike or Steve.
Yourself?
Y'all need to know the person in my story is 100% African American.
Oh my god!
But he has a great. But he has a
and Emilio is like questionable. I might be Mexican one day.
You're Italian, Emilio.
Nah, man.
Emilio's pizza.
But Steve has a great point. You know, like think about that woman in Jacksonville, Steve. Remember a couple years back where it was like a domestic violence situation, and she fired a warning shot like in the air, not at him, just like warning shot, like, yo, like I got a hot one, back the fuck up, you know? And she got arrested. I think she was in prison for like 3 to 5 years or something like that, you know, for
not only Jacksonville, there was another, yeah. There was a couple of those. But okay, again, looking at the letter of the law, we see in Texas, Brother Gene is sitting in his crib. And what is his name? Amber, drunk Amber,
Yeah.
on duty, busts in and kills this dude, and only gets 10 years, and then petitions to get it thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
How? Like, was there a disturbance called this crib? Was there a known suspect with anything going on here? And he's in his house. She broke in his house. He didn't even have a weapon. And this is Texas, where he could have shot her.
Mm-hmm.
So the law don't like Pun always said, the First Amendment is culturally biased. These laws don't apply to us. The same thing in the breath that VP was saying, or Buffalo, I'm sorry, was saying that, you know, all of these things that we've been going by has not applied to us for centuries, man. And Steve, every time I think about it, I think about what you said. We let our guard down. I think because we have thought, yeah, I got my degrees, I got my money, I got this, I got that, I'm gonna be all right. This stuff is happening to people in the hood. Yeah, he got a couple felonies. He be wilding. But bro, they really it's that simple. They really don't care about us. It's not that different. Things have not changed. And again, as long as there's a KKK, you have to remember that this stuff is generational. You can't tell me anything otherwise. If that organization was to truly disband and dissolve, I might think a little differently. But the fact that it is still thriving till this day, you have to be reminded that these are the generations of kids who watched us be lynched, dismembered, raped, and beaten, and they're now living right next to us every day.
Yeah, man. And then the story even got worse with Jacob Blake, where if you find out, hey, silver lining, he made it, right? He lived through it. Um, because at the close range, 7 shots, you would assume he probably isn't gonna make it. He made it. Some internal bleeding, some damage to some different parts of his body, including, his spine, where he turned out to be, paralyzed, right? So paralyzed, he ain't going nowhere, right? He can't walk, can't run. But then you find out that they got this motherfucker handcuffed to the bed. What is he being held for?
By his lower extremities at that.
So what is he being held for, right? What is he being held for, like an animal, as if, number one, he's a flight risk. Okay, fine. But guess what? He can't move. Can't move. So what are you doing? You think his family's going to come in there and try and sneak him out? Someone's going to notice that. Like, there's someone will see that. You're not going to sneak this man out of not a hotel, out of a hospital bed and out of the room, right?
Mm.
Especially not over some bullshit ass charge that he's going to get charged with. He didn't harm nobody. He didn't hurt nobody. It's not going to be felony charge. It's going to be maybe resisting arrest, they'll call it. And you going to handcuff this man to a hospital bed? Come on, man. They're out of fucking control.
Well, they claim that he wasn't handcuffed for the incident that we saw on tape with the shooting. They claim that he was handcuffed because he had an outstanding warrant from, like, a couple years ago or whatever, which those charges have now been dropped, whatever that warrant was for. So, but to your point, like, the dude is, coming in and out of surgery. He's had multiple surgeries since the shooting. He's paralyzed from the waist down at this point. Like, where do you expect him to go? Like, what is he being handcuffed for? So it's just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know where we go from here, right? And then, to add insult to injury, You got protesters
Hmm.
who are out there protesting. And of course, there's anarchists who are out there, breaking into stores and fucking shit up out there. And maybe, you know what? I'm not gonna act like oblivious to reality, but I'm sure some of us were out there breaking into stores, and some of the protesters weren't peaceful. I'm sure, right? Um, but you had this 17-year-old kid, a Kyle, who decided punching drywall was not enough. His mom drives him across state lines from Illinois into Wisconsin, drops him off with a bunch of other known white supremacists, and they decide they're going to take the law into their own hands. Not only are they taking the law into their own hands, the law is thanking them for their service in helping them take the law into their own hands. And granted, the gentlemen that were killed, rest in peace to them, by this young 17-year-old white male who shouldn't have, number one, illegally was carrying an AR-15. They were white, but the thought is you're shooting these people and you hate these people because they're protesting for a black man that was shot in the fucking back by the police. So I don't know how you guys feel about this whole thing.
Again, I'm deeply disturbed and fucked up. Um, the last time I went out and protested anything was in 2014 or 2015. Whenever I can't remember exactly when Freddie Gray was, but I realized then that that is a scene and that is a place when you're protesting on the front lines that can get very ugly and very scary very quickly. Fortunately, I'm not in Maryland. You can openly have an AR-15. You can openly buy one without much scrutiny, juxtaposed to owning a handgun, which is very stupid. I think I told y'all when Malvo and the other guy were doing what they were doing, there was an AR company that just changed their name because they were banned from selling ARs here, and then they changed their name, and then they're still able to be sold, and not much goes into ARs and rifles here. But this is a place where what happened in Wisconsin probably wouldn't happen here because there'd have been a couple people on the street firing back at him, legal or illegal guns. But this is disturbing, man. This kid went out there with a motive, you know, and he murdered people, just out there expressing themselves. And the fact that the law didn't protect these people is indicative to everything that's already happened. Uh, it's crazy. And Steve and I are pro guns, pro gun ownership, pro responsible gun ownership. And it's instances like this that I say time and time again, black people got to arm themselves. We saw that black group in Stone Mountain, armed to the teeth, walking around letting people know this ain't it. And I'm by no means an anarchist or just wild or off the reservation. I know how the law works. I know how things work. But it's instances like this that make me feel like Huey and Bobby Seale were right. You gotta let these people know you're not just gonna take this. And I'm not saying that we're gonna go fight the police and shoot everything moving, but this cat to just do what he did impunitively, like it's nuts to me, man. And he murdered somebody, and they captured it on film, on recording, whatever it is. And it's like, where did you even come from, dude? You're breaking the law by bringing your weapon across state lines. You're not a police officer. You're 17 years old, and shame on his mother because he's not even old enough to even understand what he's done now. This is it's sick. It's completely sick, bro. And I'm messed up by it. I really am. I think of all of this stuff. Sadly, rest in peace to Jacob Blake because we haven't said that. I'm not numb to what happened to him.
He didn't die though.
He didn't die.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
To the two,
I'm,
to the
I'm
two,
thinking of. I'm
yeah,
sorry
to the two victims.
to the
Two,
two
Yeah,
victims.
yeah.
having that Joe Biden moment.
Yeah, I did. I did. I did. Edit that out, please. I'm still thinking of Chadwick, but
Teleprompter right.
sorry for what happened to Jacob Blake, and hopefully he does not pass. Um, but it's just crazy to me, man. I'm kind of fucked up by it. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of fucked up because I had a slight brain fart there. But rest in peace to these protesters that died by the hands of this guy. Yo, it's crazy.
Nah, it is, man. And the thing that I saw this week, and I've seen this comment made before, but it's this is the most recent person that I've seen make it, was Max Kellerman on First Take, and he was talking about how those armed guys in Michigan, right, armed to the teeth, some of them carrying swastikas. They basically rolled through the Michigan state legislature, no mask, and they basically take over the legislature, yelling about being about the state being opened back up, due to coronavirus, and they're going fucking berserk in there, and nothing is done. And the reason that nothing is done is the police say, well, we don't want to escalate tensions, right? But when black people protest or whatever, they're not carrying guns. They're carrying signs, that say justice for Brianna, justice for Jacob, no justice, no peace, and all that kind of thing like that. And they're met with police in riot gear and in anti-ballistic vehicles that they got from the military, and tear gas and all other kinds of shit to disperse them. Whereas when white folks protest armed, everywhere, nothing happens or whatever. And that shit amazes me. And we saw that with Clive and Bundy back in the like 2013, 2014 time frame, when the government were trying to seize his cattle and all these militia people came up. They not only showed up, they literally were standing on a highway with their rifles trained on the police, saying that if they arrest them or take the cattle, we're going to set it off. And the cops basically left because they didn't want to escalate tensions. No one was charged, right? Let that have been black protesters, and it would have been an all-out fucking war. And the way that we're policed versus white, the way people of color are policed versus the way white people are policed is unacceptable. And for people to not see that, for the Brian Urlachers of the world, for them to not see that and to understand that, to me, it's either you're willfully blind or you're racist.
Yep. And
They're
the
racist.
yeah, and the thing about it is, it's family history, man. Racism is bred. You're not born racist. Like, you don't come out of the cooch racist. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. For those who might think so, um,
Cooch.
the cooch. Um, yeah, man. And so you talked about him breaking the law by crossing state lines. He broke the law as soon as he left his house, because I'm looking at the Illinois concealed carry laws, and it's illegal. So, first law, it is illegal to carry a loaded handgun in a vehicle without a permit or license. Well, to have a permit or license, you have to be of age. So he's 17 years old. He had not a handgun. He had a firearm in a vehicle. He broke the law. His piece of
Is it
shit. Go
is
ahead.
it a firearm or is it a rifle? Like, is that the firearm? Because some states are ass backwards. Like in Maryland, you can have the long guns. I think like 16 or something like that. Illinois might be the same. So is the AR illegal in this instance, or is that for handguns?
Well, either way, he's 17.
Right. What's the rifle age in Illinois? Because that is a systemically racist law.
Right.
Because there was a point in time where blacks were only known for having 9 millimeter handguns, and we're gonna outlaw handguns, right? Because what sense does it make? And VP said this point various times. What sense does it make to allow somebody to have 30-round magazine rifles, but then saying, "Oh, your 14 mag, your it's 10 mag handgun is illegal, and you gotta have a license." It makes no goddamn sense. So he may in the laws of Illinois be legal for that assault rifle, because they may have one of those dumbass backwards laws, because they try to imprison a lot of black people, because we had a lot of handguns in the 80s and 90s. We weren't running around in the projects selling dope, negative or not, just telling the truth. We weren't doing that with AR strapped to our chest.
Yeah.
That in itself is systemic.
They so it does not require a permit to carry a long gun in Illinois, but you do have to be of age.
What's the age?
18.
Well, fucking illegal.
18. Yeah. And so his piece of shit scumbag mother brought him and allowed him, drove him into this. Like, what kind of fucking mother, what kind of parent are you that not only that you're condoning the behavior, right? I mean, that's whatever. She's probably a racist too, but that you would put your child in harm's way that way. That you would take a 17-year-old and you would drop him in an area with a loaded weapon where even if he didn't get fucked up, shot, killed, he could potentially go to jail for a long, long time. Um, if he did harm to someone, or if he didn't do harm to someone, he could have still been arrested. What kind of parent does that? Like, I don't get it, man. White people baffle me, man.
You're not meant to get it,
And when I
because
say
this is
white
the
people, I say
same.
racists because I have
You mean racist white people?
racist white people, racists in
You're
general.
not
Shit.
you're not gonna get it. And the questions that you are asking are rational, logical questions that don't apply to irrational, illogical people that believe and subscribe to racism. Like I've been saying, she's from that ilk of her father's the grand wizard, and this is stuff that's been passed down. And I think we as a people, we have to be educated, we have to be strategic, we have to be precise, we have to call it when we see it. I said on Facebook this week, you got to start getting rid of your friends that are borderline, that are questionable. Thankfully, I don't have many Caucasian friends that are bragging and boasting about their position on this stuff, to where they're about Trump and they're saying this guy was a criminal, etc. But those that you have, I know you want to see what they're saying, you want to challenge them, you want to comment, but at some point, even if you don't unfriend them, you got to write them completely off. Because even if they just like you, Steve, like the meme said, they're no good, and we got to treat them as such.
Yeah, man. I hope. I mean, apparently, the supremacists started a GoFundMe for the kid, Kyle Kid. And I hope he goes to jail, man. I hope he goes to jail for a very long time. I hope he's charged to the full extent of the law, held completely accountable. Not sure if that'll happen. Um, this is Trump's America, so anything can happen. At least for the next 65 days, it is. Um, you guys think
Go.
that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, I just said go vote.
Yeah, definitely. Moral of the story, man. Extremely important. Get out there and vote. Do you guys think that the NBA protesting will have any impact, any effect on the change that they're expecting? I mean, we're seeing certain things like the NBA announced that they're turning all of the arenas into voting voting or polling places to allow for social distancing so people can feel more comfortable going in and out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but I don't know what that conversation was about for those 2 days where they sat out. I hadn't seen anything about what their ideas were, what their plans were, what they were asking for, what their demands were. But do you guys think there's going to be anything, any change, any effect, any impact from what they did?
So I didn't necessarily hear about any like demands or anything like that, which to the point that EJ's made countless times on the podcast, like what really can they do? You know, they're a private entity of the sports league, about 2,000 players or so, give or take, whatever. So it's not like they hold any political power, right? But what them sitting out for those 2 days allowed to happen was it kept attention on the issue, which I don't know if the attention would have been lost, but given that the players weren't playing, it allowed people to keep saying, "Hey, these players are out here and they're saying they're protesting because of the NBA announced the thing that you mentioned, turning the arenas into polling places to allow for social distancing because of at least because of coronavirus." Um, and then also at the time, Brian James's organization announced that they were going to be spending millions of dollars to hire poll workers in communities of color throughout the country. So I would say that those were some of the benefits that came from uh,
Oh, I hate the internet. I hate technology. Oh,
I don't know why he kept letting you go on knowing you were breaking up so bad. I was sitting here thinking like maybe it is me.
this shit's organic, bruh. Shit's organic. They need to know we real out here. It was a little choppy, a little choppy, a little choppy,
A little, a
little
little.
choppy. And then it went into fast forward mode.
Yo, I mean, he was killing it, man, but I couldn't hear it. Sheesh. Are you in? Are you using TJ's laptop?
yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on today, man. I reset the modem before we got popping. I don't know.
And now you're clear.
I know.
In 2 seconds, you were basically saying that they don't have the power, but they are able to bring and continually bring attention to what's going on.
Yeah, so I was just saying, it allowed for them to keep the focus on the issue, because we know how the media is. They're willing to disappear and go into the next thing. Like you guys always say we're fickle people, Um, but also the news about turning the arenas into polling places because of coronavirus and people worried about social distancing with in-person voting. And then also, coupled with that announcement, LeBron James's voting rights organization announced that they were going to be spending millions of dollars to hire poll workers in communities of color for in-person voting. So, because of them being athletes in a sports league, it's not like they can put a bill on the floor of the House and pass it and make it law, but they were able to, do some things with what limited power they have.
Yeah, that's a great point, Steve. What are your thoughts before I comment on that? Because I feel like I've been doing too much.
I think the big no. I think the biggest piece here, for me is these NBA players are, um, they're role models, right? Um, Vari, you're a good father. You're in your home, so you can be a role model for TJ, right? I'm the father in my home. I'm gonna be the role model. EJ the same, right? But there are single parent homes where there are children who don't have male figures or role models, and I think it's extremely important for the NBA to, or for the players to try and get this point across to these children, these kids, of how important this is, including, right, because they're not only role models to black kids, they're also role models to white kids, right? So these same white kids that might be in their home and they might be hearing or seeing things from their parents, their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their older sisters, their older cousins, towards black people. If that one white kid, that one white young boy that loves LeBron James is changed and changes the dynamic of his family name because he's going to carry it on based on LeBron James, Chris Paul, and others taking a stance, then it's worth it. Um, from an from this the outlook of, is it going to change anything? I agree with you, VP. I don't think it is. I hope that them, having put their foot down and taking these steps, that they're making the owners aware that, listen, man, this shit's serious, and we don't give a fuck about a dime. You know, 2 days. I don't know if they made that point clear, but um, the owners need to be clear, man. The owners, they and there's a lot of money that these guys are making for them. The organizations are making a lot of money, and they need to take that money and they need to repurpose it so that individuals are getting the message that's necessary, as far as I'm concerned.
I think you guys touched on a lot that I can't disagree with. Steve, you talked about the money and repurposing it, and we've been in agreement very various times that these owners have the right to do what they want to do with their money. Cool, but to you guys' point, the boycotts, the protesting has kept the attention on the issue, and it has also notified these owners that, hey, we're starting to get to a point where we're gonna let you know what time it is. We're ready to and willing to sacrifice more than you might have thought. And VP, I have said numerous times that they don't have all of the power. And I think my issue with just people in society and black society and culture putting all the onus on these guys. These guys are trying to work like anybody else. It always cracks me up how I saw people who work for the federal government saying, you guys should boycott and not get paid because your bosses are racist. Motherfucker, you work for the federal government. Like, just because it's millions to thousands, I get it. But, juxtapose that they're feeding 30 people while you feeding 4, so it puts these guys in very difficult situations. And at the end of the day, many of them just want to play sports and live. Many of these guys just want to do what they love to do. So I commend these guys for taking the stance that they've taken, because this is way out of their zone for many of them. LeBron, he'll never be Jordan. As much as I hate Jordan, but off the court and visibility wise, he is king. The stance he's taking, the things he's doing. I love LeBron for that, man. I always have. Always have. And then as far as the boycotts, let's be clear. A lot of other sports now did get behind that. MLB, um, we had some practices not being held in the NFL. It's a little bit more delicate of a situation because we only got 16 games, dog. Yeah, I done did 16 games in 2 weeks in the NBA. You know what I mean? They like, we gotta get these game checks, but we ain't gonna practice today. I get it. Tennis, soccer, all types of other sports. People have Osakwa. I don't remember her full name. Young lady. Took her stance in a overly racist sport to take her stance. So shout out to all of those that did that. But maybe at the end of the day, because these guys are just human beings and they might have been overwhelmed, they might have just needed a minute, to say, you know what, we're not coming out there. Fuck y'all. We got to regroup. We got to think about this because they are human. And I think that's the issue that people fail to see, because these guys can jump 40 feet high run 40 yards in 4 seconds. That these people aren't human. These guys are human. You see Brandon Marshall, although we only had a small clip, getting a little harassment while trying to move into his spot. Malcolm Jenkins, I think it was, whose brother was killed by police. I think it was him. I can't remember who it was specifically. But athletes, just because they are rich and they do superhuman things, they know they are not immune to this stuff. I know somebody who knows Will Barton personally of the Denver Nuggets, who said every time this dude leaves his house to go to the facility, he was stopped for literally over a year every morning. And this guy plays for the Denver Nuggets, making millions of dollars. Just because you're rich does not make you bulletproof to the racist bullets. And I can't fault these guys for touching their hearts and their souls and feeling like this is some bullshit. You know? So while it may not be anything that's really gonna move the needle so far, like Buffalo V said, they continue to keep pressure and attention to it, as well as the WNBA. They've been consistent in that as well. So while I don't expect them to change everything, I appreciate their efforts because they don't have to do it.
I mean, it's to your point, EJ. I think that you know the point was made earlier about how sometimes people think like, oh, it's only happening to black people who live in the hood, and so since I've educated myself and I got a good job, I don't have to worry about that kind of thing. And then you start leveling up when you're talking about, entertainers and athletes and things of that sort. And you think like, well, they probably really don't got to deal with that because they're living in great neighborhoods, etc. Right. And I always think about when I hear those kind of stories about affluent black people facing racism from the police. There's a song that Trick Daddy has. It's called America, and it has America spelled with KKK, right? And in the second verse of the song, he has this one line where it says, you got 4 degrees and a PhD, you still a nigga. You got a promotion and a fat ass raise, you still a nigga. You from the islands and your people weren't slaves, you still a nigga. No matter how much your ass get paid, you still a nigga. Shot by the cops at a traffic stop because you a nigga, right? And so people have to understand that, they don't see us on socioeconomic levels. It's you got brown skin, you different, and therefore you're gonna be treated different.
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah,
EJ, by the way, that tennis player you mentioned, her name is Naomi Osaka.
Osaka, I put a W in there, my bad. But
and she's
Trick
at the
Daddy is
beginning
your
of her.
Jay-Z, ain't he? I don't even want to know what you just said, Steve.
No, I was saying she's at the beginning of her career.
Oh
So
yeah,
Yeah.
so for her
very
to
young.
take a stance like that, it could be detrimental to her future, and but
Yeah.
she understands the need.
Well, her cultural heritage, um, because she's Japanese and Black American, right?
Right, Japanese and black.
So we forget in this country, even though
Tiger Woods, y'all.
no.
Oh,
But we forget in this country that Japanese people were put in internment camps in the 40s simply because we were at war. And many of those people were upstanding citizens for years. And then her other side is black. But Trick Daddy's like your Jay-Z, isn't it? Buffalo V.
The man's a
oh,
poet.
all my reparations.
I don't know what this world's gonna do. I'm not he's a poet though. That's my guy though.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. All right. So the Lakers moved on. Since we're on the NBA, Lakers moved on. They went 4-1. Dame Lillard left the bubble. to get his knee checked, allegedly. Um, I don't know if there's a lot of different stories out there. He could have left because he was just tired of the shit and saw an opportunity, scared of the Lakers. Hmm, I don't know, dog. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. So LeBron has looked extremely dominant the last two games. I think last night he went 36-10. I think last night he went 36-10 and 10 um to close the series out. You feel like the Lakers have it to get the ring this year, get the chip?
I didn't even know they played last night. For some reason, I thought games came back today. I thought the little work stoppage went through yesterday as well.
Gotcha.
But so I didn't see the game. Like hearing you say the score is like the first I'm hearing of it or whatever. But LeBron has looked dominant through the playoffs. You know, we always talk about him not having like that killer instinct and how like players like Kobe, Jordan, D Wade, they seem to be able to just hit a switch and turn it on. And it seems like after LeBron got his first ring and kind of got the monkey off his back, that he's had that ability to kind of like turn it on when he needs to. And it seems like during this playoff situation in the bubble that he's definitely turned it on, man. It seems like he's hit another gear. And to be doing it at year 17 is also just like amazing, yo.
Yeah, you know what, man? LeBron's crazy. He's crazy. At that age, through all the jumping and shit that he's done, his knees have held up. His body is held up. He's put a lot of money into it. Smart man for that. He looks like a problem. And that's a very high level to try and play at. And I think that's a necessary level for him to be at for them to win it this year. AD is gonna have to be consistent. He's gonna have to be consistent with what he was for the first three games, because the last two games he was kind of here, kind of there. Especially last night, he didn't have such a great game. There was other individuals who stepped up. I gotta say, I appreciate Carmelo. Carmelo had a really good game last night in Dame's absence, and they kept it close all the way through the fourth quarter without Lillard. And so, we've talked about the Lakers and if their bench is deep enough, but if they could keep it close, if Portland keep it close without Dame Lillard, with just Melo, Nurkic, really, and CJ, man, if them Clippers start, or even Houston, if they start clicking on all cylinders, the Lakers can have a problem, man, and it's gonna, and like I said, it's gonna require a high level from LeBron for them to be able to get through the West, and then even whoever comes out of the East is gonna be a little bit of a challenge. Not so much. I think we have some better teams in the West than what's left in the East. Aside from Milwaukee, they started to look better after they lost that first game to Orlando. They looked real dominant. Um, but we'll see. What you
I
got?
agree 100%. I think the teams in the East, I think, are more balanced than the West as far as playing team basketball, team defense, and bench depth. But Steve, you're 100% right. Both of you guys are right. Like LeBron had those flashes. Like last night, there was a play deep in the fourth where it's close, and he just took a little jab step, floated back, and hit a three. Like stuff that you didn't even really see in his repertoire. So it's kind of like this LeBron that we're seeing now. It seems like he has been reserving that let's go juice for certain moments that he has to do, because I don't think that team is very deep. Kuzma had some flashes. AD wasn't dominant in that game, and they struggled against a Dame Lillard gone Dame-less Blazers. And I think, like you see, they're gonna have some problems whether they face Dallas, because Dallas is still in it, or did they lose today?
Dallas,
Because they play today, I believe, for a
no, it's still
game.
early.
Yeah, I think they play today, but Dallas and LA, they're still battling. But the winner of that group is going to be very strong. But then again, there's no Porzingis. Even though
Yeah,
Porzingis, I don't think is mentally tough or really was anything to be worried about anyway. So let's just say Clippers win that. You got Houston, and they're still going at it with OKC. But I think the Clippers, um, you know, these teams, they're going to be pretty tough for the Lakers. So it's going to be very interesting to see how LeBron goes at this. It's going to be very tough. Oh, not to mention Utah and Denver are still battling it out. So both of those teams got heat. They got young heat. Spider Mitchell is relentless. I don't think there's anybody in LA that can guard him other than LeBron. Not even speaking of Paul George and Kawhi. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this round.
what about the East? Did the Heat win already?
No, the Heat haven't played yet. They play game one tomorrow against the Bucks. Or yeah, they won the first round. They swept
Yeah.
the Pacers,
That's
and then
right.
they play game one tomorrow against the Bucks.
Oof.
And then right now you got the Celtics and Raptors going. They're in the second quarter. 4 minutes and change to go, and Boston is up 48-35 on the Raptors.
Yeah, so I think the Clippers are going to close out Dallas this afternoon. No Porzingis is going to be huge. Um, we're seeing Luca become Luca and become top guy in the league, um, in all aspects of the game. So, but I don't think he's got enough to take out the Clippers with a Kawhi and a Paul George who found his shot last game. Let's see if he can keep it up because he dropped 36 on them last game. Um, Started out real slow and real quiet for those first four, but last game he had it back. So we'll see what Paul George looks like if he can stay consistent. Um, and then Lou Williams. Lou Williams has to be Lou Williams. He has to be the six man that gives him 20. If he's a six man that gives him 20, I don't think the West is ready for the Clippers, no matter who it is, Lakers or whoever, because that second unit, once LeBron and AD go out, even if you rest them separately, somebody's got to play, small ball with them. And Caruso ain't doing it. J.R. Smith ain't playing no defense. J.R. Smith is posted up at the 3-point line on both sides.
This dude shot. This dude shot from out of bounds. My man Jr. Yo, wow boy.
Mari said it, man. J.R. ain't never seen a three. J.R. ain't never seen a 3-pointer he ain't like.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then, right? So now we're getting into the second round of the playoffs. We'll move into the third round, and then the finals. And it's good because it's gonna run into September, and we're gonna for the first time have simultaneous basketball and football and meaningful basketball games in with the playoff games that are going to run during the week. And then on Sundays, Thursdays and Sundays and Mondays, we'll have football, which is right around the corner. And I look real forward to September. I mean, I am excited for December. What the fuck am I talking about? For September, and even October with baseball. But that's the norm.
Has the NBA put out any news on the 2020-2021 schedule?
I'm saying the
Because
same shit.
I mean, in 2 days is going to be September, and usually like preseason starts in the beginning of October.
Well, they don't really. You got to think. The time frame is off. So they got to go back and reassess what they're gonna do. And At this point, it's just kind of like, well, let's just get through this shit, crown the champion, go through the media nonsense of how questionable this is or that is, and live to fight another day. I for one, I don't like all them damn games anyway. So sports as we know it has been altered. You know, sports as we know it. The first college football game was last night. I don't know if y'all caught that. It was
Yeah, I was at work and it was on the
game.
TV, and I was like, I thought college football was canceled. So I'm like, I thought it was a replay.
Yeah, it's just certain conferences canceled.
Oh shit. Well, you
Yeah.
guys tell me about that because I don't watch college football until bowl time.
It was damn it. I can't remember who it was. I started watching it. It was FCS teams. Uh I want to say Arkansas. Shoot. What was yesterday? The 30th?
Yeah. No, yesterday was the
29th.
29th.
Yeah. I watched the games briefly, and it was high school games on it was high school games in Utah and North Dakota. It was Central Arkansas versus Austin P. These are both FCS games. It was a lot of sloppy football. Um, a lot of that's probably from not having the normal reps, but also these are FCS games, some that you probably wouldn't even typically see. I mean, Austin P has been in and out of FCS spotlight here and there, but Central Arkansas, I don't know the last time I ever seen anything about them. But both of these teams were co-champions in their conferences last year, and it was fun to watch. It was cool, fun to watch. All I kept thinking about is, what are the COVID numbers gonna be after this shit?
Oh man.
I can just see VP or Buffalo V. I'm sorry, I gotta retrain my mind. I can just see Buffalo V posting. Look at this shit. 40 players, COVID positive.
No one could have predicted this.
Their shitty parents let them go to college.
But the thing about it, like when you talk about college sports, that at least the NBA players, they got the bag already. They got guaranteed money in the NBA. The NFL, as long as if you're outside of that rookie deal, and depending on when you was drafted, if you're still on the rookie deal, you got somewhat of the bag. Some of the money is guaranteed, right? If you're in college, there's no guarantees, right? You going on a hope and a prayer, right? And we just seen the kid from, I think it was Georgia Tech or Georgia State or whatever.
Georgia Southern.
Okay, Georgia Southern,
Or
who had
Georgia State,
yeah,
maybe.
he basically announced he's not playing for the season because he has a COVID related heart condition, right? And so we're asking these kids to go out there who, like I said, hope and a prayer to play for our entertainment, and they could literally be risking their lives and their careers, So I just hate it, man. I mean, I get it on the NFL level. We're talking about billions of dollars, players who are making millions of dollars, etc. And it's somewhat fucked up to even ask them, but at least, in the NBA, for example, they got the bubble. The NFL, they're doing whatever they're doing. It seems to be working. They haven't had any positive tests as far as we know. Who knows what the fuck is happening in baseball? But for these college kids, man, like you don't have nothing to fall back on, yo. If you get sick, they're not gonna keep your scholarship. You're fucking done.
Yeah. They're brave, man. They're brave. Let me tell you something. I went today to Walmart, and we've been doing Walmart pickup. We've been doing Walmart pickup, but on this day, it was necessary because I because I wanted the new Madden, and they weren't doing pickup for Madden.
You think?
So we drove to no, but they normally do. They were doing it for last year's, but not this year's. Probably because
I would rob you too. Yeah, I'm Steve Blackman. Run that. Not here.
So we pull up for the grocery pickup, and The wife stays in the car while they load the trunk, and I'm like, all right, time to brave the COVID here. And this is the first time I've been in a store since March, and the only store I was going to in March was Costco, and they had very limited amount of people in there. It's extremely spread out and stuff like that. So really, like, store, I ain't been in a store like that since like February. Um, so I'm like, all right, let me mask up, get ready to go. Felt like I was going into a job interview, dog. Like my heart was pounding. I felt like fucking B Rabbit. My palms are sweaty. I mean, I was, I was let me tell you, when I walked in there, my adrenaline was rushing and shit. Like my skin was crawling. I felt dirty. And I'm like, you're too close. This guy just coughed, but he's got a mask on. Let me change directions. I can't be near him. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how y'all do that shit, dog. Yeah, I can't fuck with it. Maybe it's
I
because I've
shot.
seen people really get fucked up off of this COVID shit.
Well, like I say to y'all, I had all of the symptoms in March due to my job. I was in direct contact with people that had it. So for me, I kind of had the mentality of just, I don't know what, I didn't really have a choice in my mind, but I do a lot of shopping for your godmother, who sends me to the store for bullshit like relish. Uh,
You'll live, nigga. I need relish.
you know what I'm saying? Um, but
I already could hear her saying it.
oh man, I mean the virtual cart that she sends me, and then she just emails it to me like no conversation. I just know what time it is. Like, all right, get your ass in there and get it done. But some of the stores try to keep safe. But regarding the college football players, right? I agree with you, VP. Especially on certain levels of it. Like if you're in D2, D3, I don't see the point. Even a lot of 1AA, which is FCS situations, I don't see the point of it. Some of you D1A guys, the BCS, they're trying to get a job, and I get it. And so VP, your brother played football, right? And he went. Did he go away
Yeah,
to school?
yeah. He went to this small school right outside of Pittsburgh.
So if back then, and this is Miami in the 90s, if
The early 2000s.
same thing. Uh Miami in the 2000s. If he had to come back home versus stay there and play ball, because you went to the military, I assume largely to get away from Miami as well.
Mm,
Okay, you're just all right. Anyway, um, would you have been like, nah, dog, stay out there. It's safer. Get your education. Like, and I asked that rhetorically because everybody's situation is different. But a lot of these guys that return back to Miami, Brooklyn, uh, Little Rock, a lot of these guys are saying, and this is some of the minority guys, not many of the other guys. I don't want to go home. It ain't nothing there for me. I'm gonna get COVID anyway and potentially get shot. So let me chill and do my thing. So we all know the dangers of COVID, and it just goes back to personal risk. And like I said, football players are wired differently. We were told in 2006 that every hit that you have is equivalent to the impact you're gonna feel from a head-on collision going 70 miles an hour. Corey
mhm.
Stringer dies. I remember the bullshit the NCAA put in for practices, but we didn't follow it, and we watched this guy, have that happen to him. Football players are just wired differently, so I just don't think football players are mentally stable to even compare to the rational person. But I get both sides, and I don't knock them for it. Like I said, D2, D3, and a lot of 1AAs. I don't see the point, but if that removes you from your home situation, if this is the only 3 square meals you're gonna get, I get it.
Yeah, but I could not get shot by staying at home inside during COVID. The same as I could not get COVID by staying home and staying inside. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would risk it.
I mean, if you live in an environment, right, where in DC, it was last month in DC, there was a cookout in Southeast Baltimore. I mean, damn, Southeast DC. I'm wilding. Southeast DC, where 20 something plus people got shot with a long range gun. One of them is a cop, and I don't know her status right now. One of them is a cop, and about 16 of those 20 something people that got hit were women. And DC is like on fire right now. These kids are coming out the gate with nothing less than these AKs, yo. And I mean, it's insane. And unfortunately, a lot of people's escape were sports and all of that. And I can't knock them if they don't want to come home. And people had the nerve, and people still have the nerve to question why this cop was at a cookout. I'm like, bruh, she's a police officer. She's from the neighborhood. Why can't she be at a cookout? It ain't her fault that these dudes are spraying AKs into a crowd of people at a family gathering. But these are the war zones that our communities live in. So I'm not knocking what you're saying, Steve. I'm just saying we got to also remember that there are vantage points of privilege and different vantage points that everybody don't live in. I don't know that I would want to return to Southeast DC if I got a scholarship in Waynesboro, Indiana. And I don't know that I would want to return to that because I could stay at home, but I really might not be able to stay at home. And COVID is rampant and crime is rampant. So I don't know, man. It's another thing that, again, because of the state of America, a horrible president, being black, shit should have been handled better. We, as the bottom of the totem pole, as the black people, are feeling it more than anybody. Because a guy like a Sam Darnold or Mark Sanchez, or let me just say like a Sam Darnold who comes from an affluent California home in college, they can go back to Palo Alto, they can go back to San Mateo, to their $500,000 house where they got everything they need. You know what I mean? Versus the kid like Dwayne Wade, who grows up in Chicago, no mom. You know, we don't have those luxuries.
Yeah. Um. Go ahead, VP.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, for the question posed, for my brother, I think, you know, I don't know if I would want him playing football, especially because when my brother played, he had no illusions of going to the NFL. He was good enough to get a partial scholarship, and he was trying to get his education. And he had to play football to get the education. You know what I mean? So for him, I wouldn't want him playing, especially because it's not like he's like this top guy who has the potential to be drafted. You know what I mean? As far as being on campus, my brother's one of those people who isn't going out like that. He's staying his ass at home, and he don't go to he loves working out. He don't go to the gym. He works out at home, got some dumbbells, runs some miles, shit like that. And he works from home and everything. So I would want him staying home to even go to school. Yeah, he would be in Miami, but he could still stay home and not have to go out there and expose himself. And it's just, you know, for these kids, with them being in college, man, they're putting so much at risk. And especially for the kids, like you talked about in these FCS schools, a lot of these kids aren't. I mean, a lot of them from the jump aren't going to the NFL. You might get a handful that they got that talent that gets them drafted in the 6th round or something like that. You know what I mean? But for the most part, these kids ain't going to the NFL. And they're risking everything for entertainment. You know what I mean? And that's a big ask, man. That's a big ask.
I think you just got to be realistic with yourself. Like you got to face reality. Maybe the parents need to be realistic and explain reality to the kid and say, yeah, you good, and maybe you got better, but you're not that good. Like
Right.
you're not making a career out of this. Like if you're not making
Right.
a career out of this, let's really sit back and think about alternatives. Alternatives being, staying your ass the fuck home. Um, so RNC happened last week. Did you watch VP?
No.
Oh,
I caught the Cliff Notes version.
you couldn't bear it. You watched the ESPN version.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sports Center recap.
All right,
Yep.
let's get into the VP's politiminute.
All right, so last week, Monday through Thursday, was the Republican National Convention. The Vice President Mike Pence and Donald Trump accepted their party's nomination for president and vice president. Um, a bunch of people spoke, mainly Trump's. Um, he used a lot of his presidential power to show people that he quote unquote cares about black people. Rolled out some of his black friends, quote unquote, like Herschel Walker and the woman that he pardoned about a year or so ago. I can't remember her name. Um, the main thing that I took away from the RNC is the way that Trump has basically stomped on norms, because that entire Republican convention was a crime. We essentially watched a crime happen 4 days in a row on live TV. There's a law called the Hatch Act that prevents using federal resources like government buildings and monuments and that kind of thing to stage political events. It also prevents federal employees, except for the president and vice president, from participating in political events. And we've seen people like the Secretary of State and the White House press secretary and on and on and on participating in this RNC, Kellyanne Conway. So we essentially watched a crime occur Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 hours a night, you know, a lot of white power hours in there. And it is what it is. Hopefully he loses in a glorious fashion.
Kellyanne Conway, she left, didn't she? Is that the chick that left?
She's leaving at the end of the month.
The what?
So a lot of lies. When I was watching just some recaps and stuff like that, there was a lot of things that popped up on the timeline, fact checking stuff that was said, and a good portion of it was untrue. We know that I think we know that it's important, and we see that, like you said, I think Trump understands that it's important for him to show that he has black friends. That how people say, I'm not racist, I got 2 black friends. I'm not racist. I got into a conversation with someone on Facebook the other day, because they commented on a post that I had commented on, and we were talking about, I think it had to do with Trump, or maybe it had to do with shooting, one of the shootings. I mean, there's been so many of them, and he says, "What? I'm not racist. My godson is black." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." So, well, how many other black people do you hang out with on a regular basis? Well, none. Okay. So your godson is black by choice, right? Is that by choice, or did they choose you because you're friends with? Oh no, half black. He said half black. Um, the white mother, right? You're really good friends with the white mother. She had a kid. She likes the doingy, and you became the godfather. That doesn't mean that you can better tolerate black people.
The doinky.
But no, I mean, what you're saying, Steve, is exactly what happened about a year or so ago when Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman from Michigan, she had said something about racism in a hearing. This is back before Elijah Cummings died, and about Mark Meadows, Republican from North Carolina, who's now Trump's chief of staff. And Meadows gets, he starts clutching his pearls. He gets all upset, and how dare you call me racist? I have nieces and nephews who are half black, as if to say, because his brother or sister, I don't know who, is fucking a black person, the transferred of power of penis makes him not racist.
Duh.
Well, I mean, we simply can end that conversation in saying, well, slave masters had black babies too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, how many little Beckys out there that want to just get their, get on their dads? I hate you, dad. And then they bring Jamar home. They end up pregnant. And now you got Daddy the
Jamar
racist.
is definitely black.
You got Daddy the racist with little Jaden, because anytime it's an interracial child, it's about a 78% chance that the kid's name is going to be Jaden. And then they're like, "There's no. What do you mean racist? I'm not racist. I have a half black grandchild. But you probably hate that grandchild just as much as you hate black people." But I think that's So that's what I'm getting at. Is it seems like that's what Trump did with Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, straight coonery. Glad the Cowboys traded him. Piece of shit. He falls in line with Terry Crews. Super coon. like if there was like a master, like after you fought all the house niggas and you had to fight that last one, Terry Crews is that guy.
Nah, I would say Herschel Walker for sure.
Nah, I think Terry Crews is
And his
worse,
son,
man.
Herschel Walker and his son. Have you seen his son's video?
No.
Yeah. Google Herschel Walker's son's video.
What do you say? Is his son half white?
I don't know.
Herschel Walker being a black athlete, there's about 87% chance that his son is half white.
His son is a lot of things, and I'll just wait till you go watch the video.
All right. We'll have to dissect.
Yeah. Just wait.
But essentially, with the RNC, essentially the message was by all the speakers is that all the bad shit you're seeing happening in America, this is what will happen in Joe Biden's America. Even though it's happening in Trump's America, you need to reelect me so I can fix it.
Right. Yeah. The last 4 years you've been under Joe Biden. That's how bad it's been.
Mm-hmm.
So what else is any major changes here on the political front, VP, that we need to be aware of? Dates, important dates. Obviously, we know 65 days away until Election Day. If you're not registered to vote, go to our website, www.castworthy.com. It's accessible on your mobile devices as well as your computers. And at the top, as soon as the site opens up, it says register to vote. If you click that box, it'll bring you to vote.org, where you can register for whatever state you're in. Visit our site, register to vote. It's extremely important. Put in your vacation day. If you're not feeling well, I got the plug on some doctors. I'll get you a doctor's note if you need to call out that day. If they decline your vacation, holla at me. We need to make sure that we vote.
What else can your doctors get?
Little thing. Little thing.
I mean, as far as key dates, I mean, election day is 65 days away. But I mean, here in the United States with early voting, we have election season that's getting ready to start. Early voting starts in uh I believe it's Pennsylvania on September 14th. So, um yeah, man. So people need to get ready, make a plan to vote. I know sometimes a lot of people don't fuck with Bill Maher or whatever, but he made an important point on Friday, and he was talking about how Trump's trying to rat fuck the mail to impact vote by mail, because in 32 states in the country, your ballot has to be received on or before election day. Even if it's postmarked before election day but received after, it won't count in those 32 states. Florida is one of them. And so he was like, once voting starts, when it's time to start voting, people need to stop fucking around with the mail. Don't be sending your auntie that stupid ass card about her getting old on her birthday. Call her, send her a text. You know, them fucking socks that you ordered rushed on Amazon Prime. Like, you need socks overnighted to you. Like, delay that shit. You know what I mean? If you pay your bills by mail still, like, wake up and come to the 21st century. Use the goddamn internet. You know what I mean? And he was like, we need to stop sending bullshit mail to leave room to get these ballots processed, because Trump is trying to destroy the post office to impact voting.
Start leaving some fucking water bottles, cold water bottles near your mailbox, man. Make the mailman want to go to work. I got a friend that's a postal worker in Connecticut. He hates his fucking job. He hates that shit. But he loves it around holiday season because motherfuckers is handing them big ass bottles of alcohol and gift cards and shit like that, right? If you're not getting recognized at your employer, at least the people that are benefiting from the job you're doing recognize you. And so, yeah, man,
my mail lady has the yams. I mean, she has the cakes.
Does she put marshmallows on them and melt them into like candy yams?
Listen, I haven't seen her in some time, but
Is she brown?
Yes, even in those mail pants.
That's like Scrubs. Like Scrubs is the shit. That's why I can't go to the hospital.
It's worse than Scrubs.
I prefer not to go to the doctor, the hospital. Them shit just pull my eyes.
Listen, she be having them baggy ass gray USPS issue short pants, and boy, that thing is still rotund
with the ortho sneakers.
Yo, she be having the black blade boots.
She got the Skechers step ups. That's how she got the booty walking around.
Nah, brother. Yo, when I hear the truck slide, I be like, it's her. But I haven't seen her in a while, man. Shout out to her. I don't even speak. But I ain't think about leaving no alcohol or something like that. I'm gonna have to drop a nice little unoffensive card. Like, hey,
man, leave them a gift card. They working through this shit just like us, and they ain't getting no fucking nothing extra. Leave them. A matter of fact, I'm about to set up a little cooler outside because we have Amazon come every day. Every day we get a box from UPS, FedEx, USPS. I'm gonna have to set up a little cooler outside with a little note that says "Thanks for your service."
You're heroes.
Those are my heroes, dog. Those are the real patriots. Fuck Kyle.
Right. Oh, fuck Kyle for sure. VP or Buffalo. God damn it, Buffalo. Bill Maher. I used to watch his show faithfully, but he says things sometimes that borderline trigger me a little bit.
I like Bill Maher. That's the science guy, right? Bill Maher, the science.
That's Bill Nye.
Bill Nye.
I get it. He's the HBO guy. I actually like him because he's dick.
He says I like him politically.
I gravitate to dicks. Paul.
I like a lot.
Like, because I'm an asshole too. At least that's what you guys tell me. I don't.
You were born an asshole. You've been an asshole for 30 plus years.
Society, but you guys tell me otherwise.
You've been an asshole for 30 plus years. But Bill Maher says some things that trigger me when he sometimes dismisses black issues. I can't specifically remember what it was, but something sometimes he triggers me. But
Yeah, Bill, I have a love hate relationship with Bill Maher too. Like I hate like he does this thing where he says like, you know, we all have to live in a world together. So like people gets on him for like inviting like people with extreme views from like the Republican side of things onto his show. And um
I just saw the clip of J.R. Smith shooting from out of bounds.
I watched it live, brother.
you know, so he's never met a 3-pointer he didn't like, yo. I'm
Oh
telling
my
you.
god,
You know, my man was like in the seats.
dog!
But go ahead, VP.
But yeah, so you know, so he brings on. I think that he helps promote views that I don't like, you know. But I take his point that you know we got to live in this world with these other people, you know. So we can't just silence them, right? You know. But it's like, yeah, but you also have to get on a platform to spew that shit. You know what I mean? His like stance um on like speech at colleges and things like that, I think is a little bit out of bounds, you know. But I look at Bill Maher like I look at a lot of other things, you know, is that it's kind of like that 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the shit he does, I like, you know, and then there's 20% that I don't like. And so, you know, I try to take the good shit and ignore the rest, you know.
Well, you know, like I agree, and like he had that instance. I think it was like in 2017 where he made the joke about saying he would be a house nigger.
Yeah.
You know, like he says some shit that's just insensitive to me. And at the end of the day, he's a New York Jewish guy. He's a Jewish guy from New York with money, you know, money from wherever it came from. Because I don't think it's all come from his time on TV, even though
No,
he's been on
he wasn't
TV.
born into money. He made his money
Huh?
from HBO. He made all his money from TV and comedy. He
I
wasn't
was
born
gonna
into
say,
it.
I mean, he's had money. He's been had a show for over 20 something years,
Yeah,
but the amount of
he always tells people the reason he has money. He says, "I don't do stupid shit." He was like, "I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't need a big ass boat." So
yeah,
he just
but I
saves
mean,
everything.
I still wonder who his parents are because he is from New York. He's old school Jewish ilk. I don't think he started from the bottom. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying he's the heir to, you know, the next billionaire, but you know, he says wild shit to me sometimes, and I love the show. I follow his show ever since it moved to HBO from, you know, when he got kicked off earlier from other networks. But it's a love hate thing, like you said, for me too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't see his parents.
Yeah, I think he was just like in like a middle class white family from I think they're from Jersey, I believe.
Yeah,
I thought he was from New York.
I was just looking to see his no, he's from New York, but his parent. I was looking to see if his
Oh,
parents
okay.
were listed. You know, usually they show the parents on Wikipedia, but he must keep that under wraps. Probably because you know those right wing people probably pop up at their house.
Well, I think his parents are dead.
Whoa,
Probably,
whoa, sir.
possibly so, because he's up there.
Yeah, he's like in his mid 60s or something.
Yeah, he's about 64.
I mean, your parents got to be dead, dog. Y'all motherfuckers is cryptic today. Dog, you're 60. Your parents got to be dead. Um,
Oh shit.
hey, hey, do you listen to music, Laurie?
If it ain't Trick Daddy or Miami, you know that's a no.
Nah, he's a Little Wayne fan. He loves Little Wayne. Um,
Lil Wayne look like the Crypt Keeper right about now.
Yeah,
The
he.
Locks dropped the album. I want to just real quick touch on the feels when I heard that. That
You got your knife, you got your hawk out.
yeah. I was driving to work. I was driving to work when I first listened to it, and I was like, "Oh man, nobody better piss me off today." Something about Chic, Luch, and Styles, man. They just make you want to smack the shit out of somebody.
She Ooch. Gorilla.
Sheik sounds good, man. You know, before it seems like he's grown as an artist. He was so terrible back in the day.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was bad. Sheik was bad. I mean,
She had one of the most memorable verses on All About the
so
Benjamins.
he had one good verse in all
No,
the
but
shit.
if you follow his music, you know, I just don't think he took it. When you listen to him talk, he's always been the glue of the group, like the guy who makes the decisions. But his album Walk With Me, to me, is one of the best solo joints that any of them got
It was
outside of Jada's second joint.
an independent album.
Walk With Me might have been on Columbia or just Universal. It was on Universal, and they didn't promo it very well. But that album back then, because this was before, or it might have been right around when Jada did Kiss of Death. But I like that shit better than Styles P album, to be honest with you.
Sheik,
The first one.
to me, Sheik was never lyrical guy. As far as I was concerned, he was the worst one in the group. And to this point, after listening to this album, I feel like he's grown a lot. Um, Listening to the album, I think it was great. It was a phenomenal album. Um, Much needed. Made me want to be back home, outside a barbershop, standing on a block somewhere, chilling, just kicking it. Very nostalgic sound that they have for the years where I grew up, listening to hip hop heavily, and it was much needed sound. It was a much needed sound. This one was similar to last year. This one, to me, is last year's Jim Jones album. Like last year's Jim Jones album was the New York album that you needed, popped out, made you really get nostalgic, feel like lacing up some Tims in the summertime with shorts, like a weirdo. Um, and that's what this album did for me. But I liked it. I like it a lot. It's got a couple. I can't call it spins because I'm streaming them, but it's got a few streams for me so far. How about you, EJ?
Nah, I loved it. And I think 2020 has given us some good projects, from Nas to him to the Griselda guys to Jada Kiss's album, which I think is still for me the album of the year, the Ignatius album. But yeah, I mean, she to me, if you go back and really listen to his stuff, his flow is the same, bars are the same. I think he just never really took it seriously, but on this album, it seemed like he put a lot more into it, and it seemed like strategically they gave him the floor to do that because Jada didn't really have too many. It seemed like they kind of him and Styles kind of stepped back a little bit, but yeah, man. If 2020 hasn't done anything, they've given us some good music for
Yeah,
sure.
I saw a clip, or I saw on Instagram that Jim Jones was at uh, why can't I remember his name now? Saw a clip of Jim Jones at damn it, Santana's house, Joel's house, setting up a virtual studio, and they're working on some Dipset music. So, man, I hope that comes out. I just hope it comes out in the wintertime because it's gonna make people go outside. It's gonna make motherfuckers go outside if it comes out during the summer. Um, you guys, Lovecraft Country, you guys caught up?
I am.
Yeah.
They skipped P Valley last week, so this week I'm ready for it. I'm ready
I
for it.
watched the episode this morning.
What? Lovecraft?
P Valley.
Oh, you watched it? I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah,
Is it good? Is it worth it? Don't no, forget it. Don't say anything. Um,
I'll tell you like this. When I saw somebody say that they were watching it at 12 something right before I logged into it, I said if I don't see titties in the first 10 minutes, I'm done.
uh,
Needless to say, we do get titties in this episode. So
I think we get titties in every episode on P Valley.
no, we don't. I've kept track of it.
Stop walking away. Um, Lovecraft Country. Um, episode 2 was like a mini series. So they're giving us 55
It
minutes, huh?
was. Yeah.
They're not doing the 40 minutes and then let's give you a preview of next week and then you get to see 10 minutes of fucking commercials before the next show comes on. They're giving us 55 minutes of content on this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was good, man. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's weird. Weird as fuck to me. But what's you guys take on it?
Yeah, the 55 minutes thing, when I was watching it, I was like, damn, is this like, I thought it was like one of those like longer like, you know how like a season finale might be like 120 minutes, something like that, you know? I
Yeah.
thought it was something like that. And so I hit the pause button and I'm like, it's only an hour. But because they didn't do that normal like 48 minutes bullshit or whatever, it felt longer, even though it was just a few minutes. You know what I mean? But it allows them to tell a better story. But one thing I will say before I answer that question on Steve is that as much as I hated what they did, I want to give a shout out to Game of Thrones, because I don't think I could watch Lovecraft if I didn't watch Game of Thrones, because like I wouldn't have been into it, you know what I mean, like into that genre of TV, you know. So
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I thought it was a good episode. I'm still trying to figure out like what's happening. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily sure exactly what's going on. And I was sitting here watching that episode, and when they show the scene when Journey Smollett is in the room when she's crying, I'm like, oh, I'm about to see some Journey Smollett titties. Like, you know, I'm like, but you know, not this week, I guess, you know. But but I thought it was a good episode.
I appreciate her acting ability. I don't know what you guys are such womanizers.
Wow. Yeah.
Jay talks about he don't want to watch P Valley if he don't get titties in the first 10 minutes. VP thinking, shit, can I get some Smollett titties? All we hear about from the Smolletts is the gay boy. And
Oh my god. Oh my god.
okay, I gotta edit that. What's the timestamp? What's the timestamp on it?
Wow.
All right, I'm good. I got the timestamp. You're up.
Wow.
You're up, EJ. And cut. Go.
Yeah.
Pick up VP's titties.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit. I read up on Lovecraft Country, and because I didn't really know much about it, and I realized that it was a book, and the way that it's written is kind of like gonna be a different show with the same characters every week, which I don't know that I'm gonna be able to keep up with in the same excitement, because the connected storyline seems to be hidden within the pages, and I don't know that HBO is going to be able to flesh it out, but that may be a reason why they have such longer episodes, because they got a lot to kind of flesh out. So it'll be cool to see. I thought initially that they were just altering the show to focus on black issues and racial issues overall in general, just because it draws people, but that's what the actual book is about. So seems like they're doing everything according to plan to what the book is doing. But I enjoyed that episode. So yeah, I wish we could see on screen more things being told about black people and different nuances without a fictional genre attached to it, because we don't really get to see that. Like, Rosewood was one of the last movies I remember really telling a story that vividly about what happens. But I'm lying. You got 12 Years a Slave and maybe many others, but Rosewood just always sticks out in my head. But yeah, I just wish we could get more factual stories being told about that time period, whether it's the civil rights or slavery or whatever it is. But Yeah, I'm kind of invested in Lovecraft now, so I'll be watching again tonight.
What I also like too in episode 1, and I don't know if this is like something that's like directly from the book, or if it's more of a Jordan Peele kind of spin on it, since he's involved with the show, with how like that bar was named Denmark Vesey's bar. Um, the uncle is basically like doing the Green Book, you know what I mean? And so there's like these nods to things that happen in Black history throughout the show, and I don't know if that's something from the book or something that Jordan Peele is putting in there. And given, we talked last week about how people don't really know a lot about our history because it's not taught in school, I'm wondering if people are picking up on that, or maybe at least googling to be like, who is Denmark Vesey or whatever, or I mean, obviously we had the movie Green Book or whatever, but I'm not even sure if people even caught that with the uncle. They're basically making it seem like the uncle is the guy who put together the Green Book, and so I thought that was pretty cool in the story.
I think that episode, to me, that episode was extremely powerful. That was a powerful episode, and to me there was and I'm sure it goes off of the book, but there was a message in there too, right? While yeah, you might be what we need right now, but don't step out of line, little nigga boy. Like that's what I took from it. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that in the most um uncomedic way, right? Um it truly seemed like that's what he was telling them. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I see our society right now. Like I feel like Kamala's there, right? She's necessary, but even if she gets in, and as much as I know VP you back the party, and we appreciate Joe and we appreciate all of that. As important as she is, I feel like the way this episode played out, if something weird happened and she tried to play a trump card, not Trump the person, but just Trump, like spades, it would be like, all right, we need you for black votes, but there's a line that you still can't cross. Like, let's relax a little bit. And that's kind of how this episode went down for me. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I mean, well, I'm not saying it's right. It is wrong. But um it was just a very powerful episode for me, man, and it was very real, very surreal, but besides, the 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 super fictional parts of it, but just like how he was such an important part to what they had going on there, their little cult. um but when he started making little extra demands, it was like, all right, well,
Hmm.
you ain't got it like that. Say bye to your fucking uncle, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
um that's how I took it, but I appreciated the episode, and to your point, EJ, a little bit, the different episodes kind of being a different storyline. It could be confusing, but we'll see how it ties together. Obviously, we're only 2 episodes in. Let's see if they tie that all together nicely. If some way it goes back to Chicago or something like that, we start to see how they all mingle. I think it could turn out, very successful and something that we like.
Yeah.
You guys watch anything new?
Cobra Kai.
Oh, I didn't get to. So that was on YouTube before, right?
Yep. And
Solely, and Netflix
both
picked it
and
up.
both seasons now are on Netflix. I'm about 5 episodes in. It's pretty good. It's
I
it's
heard
it's
it's good. I heard
yeah.
it's good. I gotta get into that. I gotta watch it. I was a big Karate Kid fan for the movie itself. So I definitely want to watch that.
Yeah. You'll love it. If you love the movies, you'll definitely love it. For sure.
I'm gonna watch that. VP, you guys watching anything? I know you and Aaron do watch a lot of TV together. So like
Uh,
with us, we split stuff off at times. She watches weird shit. I watch weird shit. We watch some.
I actually haven't been watching too much TV the last like 2 weeks. I've been I've been doing some reading. So yeah.
Got it. You reading anything good, or are you still on that on the same book from
No, I finished the Tiffany Cross book.
Tasty
Say It
Tiffany?
Louder.
Sorry.
Yeah, I finished the Tiffany Cross book called Say It Louder. I'm actually reading a older book now, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I've
I
heard of
talked
that
before.
book.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a book about investing. It's more of a book about like changing your mindset, and like to give you an example, he talks about how like if you wanted something, right, and you say I can't afford that. Like that's kind of like mental laziness, because once you say I can't afford it, you stop thinking. It's like I can't afford it, therefore I can't have it, and then you kind of move on. Whereas if you said something like, how can I afford that? You force yourself to think of different alternatives. Maybe I'm not gonna get the coffee from Starbucks, or maybe I'll brown bag it to lunch for like 2 weeks or whatever. And then that'll save me the money that I would have been spending on this other stuff to be able to now get this thing that I want or need or whatever. And so it's more of a book like that on kind of changing your mindset about things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been like I said, I haven't been watching much TV, man. I've been reading. Ordered 3 new books. They should be here in the mail soon. So I'm still gonna be watching TV, but I'm trying to read more and expand.
The books are never coming.
Here we go. This motherfucker just said stop using the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what?
By September 14th. By September 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Playboy subscription. The final
And
season.
my books are coming by UPS, not a post office.
Got it.
Ooh, okay.
There's that.
Okay. Good job.
Cool. I haven't watched anything new. Shit.
I
No.
started watching this show. It's an old show, but it's called Supernatural.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I didn't watch it
Kind of
yet.
like in the realm of like Charmed and dealing with spirits and ghosts and shit.
Yeah,
And the only reason I started looking at it is because I always see it on the CW, but I never know anything about it. But needless to say, I started watching it, and so it's cool. But it has like 15 seasons, 22 episodes apiece. I'm not gonna make it.
I ain't got time for that. Give me some shit that's about 3 episodes or 3 seasons in. I am excited about I know y'all for some reason you guys can't watch it because you guys are fucking weird. But Wentworth is going on in Australia right now, and
I
after
watched Wentworth.
oh, okay, good. I thought you said you stopped. Oh
No, I
no,
watched the whole thing.
That was me. Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough titties.
of course not.
I mean, it is a
Why-
women's prison show, Steve. Like they definitely, like, come on.
Oh well, there you have it. How dare they show a show with nothing but women on it and not have titties out? Who am I to be not be? I mean, feminist, huh? Good job, Barbara. Look at me appreciating women for their talent and not just their boobs.
That's not what I came here for.
uh, Wentworth is playing in Australia right now, and then what happens obviously is after the season finishes in Australia, that's when they move it to Netflix. So I am excited about that coming. I'm actually gonna try and get my Fire Stick up, and I'm actually gonna see if I can find somebody that lives in Australia to send me copies of it. Clearly legally, so I can watch it ahead of time. I am also excited about Power Book 2, which comes out next week, Sunday,
Yeah, September. I think same day as football.
same day as our draft.
Uh-huh.
So next
Right,
Sunday,
right.
and yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how that's going to start out and see if it's going to be something that I'm drawn to. I probably will be. Um, but yeah, I haven't really watched too much of anything. Haven't gotten caught on anything. I was upset that there was no P Valley episode.
Well, you'll see it tonight. Or whenever you feel like watching it.
I'll probably watch it tonight. I'll watch that and Love Child tonight.
Lovecraft
Lovecraft.
Country. This motherfucker said Love Child.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to just transition into our website. www.castworthy.com is up and running right now. All old content is available there at this point. Some information about each of the of us are on there, and the merch will be uploaded and available for purchase here within the next couple of days. We'll have the hats, shirts, some decals, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And you can also utilize our site to vote, to register to vote. So you go to our website, top, click on register to vote. It'll take you to vote.org or vote.gov, whatever it is, one of those two. And you can register there no matter what state you're from. 65 days until election day, much sooner for early voting. Be prepared, get out there, make a difference. Unless you love the shit that we're going through right now and you hate black people, then don't.
Unless you're racist.
Or
Yeah.
self-hate, racism.
Mhm.
One other thing I'll add on top of that is that in some states there's a robocall going around. So it's like you get a call, it's about politics, but it's automated, saying that if you register to vote by mail, that it'll inform the sheriff of any outstanding warrants. So basically trying to discourage people from voting by mail, especially people of the African American persuasion. That is complete bullshit. Don't believe it. You can register to vote by mail. It's not going to let anybody know you're out there or any warrants or whatever the fuck. That's just another form of voter suppression. So you're good to register to vote.
Yeah.
Amen.
If you're in Florida, we're trying. We have an idea here to try and get people who cannot travel independently to voting polls. We're in the early stages of that, so we're going to try and do everything we can from a cast-worthy standpoint to get people voting. But got to do what you got to do, man. If you can't make it, find a way to make it. Find a way to make a family member make it. If you're going to go, make sure everybody goes. Be prepared for it. There's a big change that needs to come right now. If you have children, if you have a black child, think of the next 4 years of their life and how you want that to play out. And then make your decision as to whether or not you're going to show up to vote or not.
Yeah.
That's all I got on that. I think we've covered everything that we had planned to cover for today. So I'm going to hand it over to Le VP. Well,
Buffalo.
we'll see. Let's see how the network holds up here. I'm gonna cut your ass off. I'm gonna cut your mic off if you start doing that fucking
Like,
robo shit.
yeah.
Then it come on real fast, and then if you go
jazz cats and shit.
All right, folks. We definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to join us. For the folks who joined on the live stream on Facebook, you can find us on any of our social media at Castworthy, on Instagram at Castworthy_podcast. Also check out the website www.castworthy.com. You can check out the merch. There's a little bit about us, members of the podcast, and you can also, most importantly, register to vote. You can click on a link that'll take you to vote.org, and you can register to vote. Doesn't matter what state that you live in. Make a plan to vote. Have a plan to vote early by mail. If you can't vote early by mail, have a plan to vote early in person. If you can't vote early in person, have a plan to vote on election day. This is one of the most important elections of your lifetime. Be prepared for it. Make a plan. You also can find the podcast at any of your podcasting sites like Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, the YouTube channel. You could also check out any of the episodes from this week or previous episodes on our website. Again, that's www.castworthy.com. And as always, we definitely appreciate the love. We appreciate you guys rocking with us for these past what has been 2 years now. Damn. So we definitely appreciate it, y'all, and more to come. And thank you. We love you. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.